at
Okay.
in a minute.
Okay.
In a minute, yeah.
I understand.
Oh, Nishi is in. Please bring him in.
All right, are we all set? It's 6:30.
Yeah. Noor, Nishi is joining, so if you want, you can put it to him. The host writes to him after this.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, Nishi.
Yeah, good evening. Sorry, let me just change my virtual background. Thank you.
Shweta, this is uploaded on Drive, right?
Yes, it is uploaded.
Okay, fine. That's it.
Can we have a promo video?
Yeah.
Sure.
So Faisal, you start immediately after the promo video, okay?
Wow, what a beautiful piece of epic music. Fantastic, amazing, marvelous, fabulous, and splendid. I'm all excited. I'm sure you two have the same spirits. Fellow Toastmasters, energized debaters, and amazing guests from around the globe. This is Toastmaster Faisal Jamil, your Sergeant at Arms, and I welcome you all to the knockout semi-finals of Energize Debaters Conference 2021. We are all excited to see you. Let me remind you few ground rules of today's debater conference. I will request you to please ensure your mics are muted and videos are closed, and switch Zoom to the speaker's view. With this, let me introduce our event chair of this conference. She's an IT manager working with Hamad International Airport, Qatar, joined Toastmasters in 2018. Currently a member of two clubs in District 116, CAF Toastmasters and McChaney 1 Toastmasters, Qatar, and charter of Critical Thinkers in District 20. She has been associated extensively with public relations in District 116 and recipient of the PR Champion Award this term. Help me welcome to our event chair, Toastmaster Bindu Pillai. Toastmaster Bindu Pillai, over to you.
Thank you, Chief Surgeon at Arms, for that wonderful introduction. Dignitaries from all the districts, passionate Toastmasters, debate enthusiasts, wonderful debaters, debate moderators, chief judge, anonymous judges, organizing team members, role players, members of all participating clubs, members of the hosting club, Critical Thinkers, distinguished guests from all across the globe. An exciting and fantastic evening to all of you out there. Debating opens a whole new culture. It improves your thought process to critically evaluate, the information being presented, improve your skills to do research on the subject, thereby allowing you to think about aspects and perspectives that you may not have considered at all. Critically analyze the facts and form conclusions and arguments. We are a team of debate enthusiasts who would like to bring about a change to improve the debating culture in Middle East. And we have brought together the concept of Debaters Annual Conference, which follows the Toastmasters debate format. Ladies and gentlemen, excitement is all creeping up. On behalf of the entire task force, I welcome all of you on board to the exciting semi-final session, Day 3 of Synergize Debaters Conference 2021, hosted by Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club, District 20. So our maiden Synergize Debaters Conference, hosted by Elite Debaters Toastmasters Club, happens in June 2020. And now we have crossed the knockout session in the second year and have reached the semi-final. Have reached semi-finals. We started off with 4 teams last year. This year, we had 8 teams originating from clubs in 3 different districts. Now we are looking forward to make this a mega event in the future, and we welcome more clubs and get the Titans on the ground. The participating clubs in 2021 were Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club, Kuwait, Doha Advanced Toastmasters Club, Qatar, Elite Debaters Toastmasters Club, Kuwait, First Diva Debate Club, Bahrain, Midas Touch Advanced Toastmasters Club, Qatar, Oasis Advanced Toastmasters Club, Qatar, RCS Debaters Toastmasters Club, Qatar, and Take the Bait Toastmasters Club, UAE. And in the semi-finals, we have with us Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club, Doha Advanced Toastmasters Club, Oasis Advanced Toastmasters Club, and Take the Bait Toastmasters Club. Now, to take this event forward, we have this energetic and beautiful lady from Kuwait. She is an architect working at the Art Club. Been in Toastmasters for 2.5 years now and currently serving as the VP Education at Dreamweavers Toastmasters Club. She is the division runner-up for evaluation contest this year and that of the table topics last year. With a thunderous applause, let us all welcome our beautiful Master of Ceremonies, Alina Paul, on the virtual stage. Screen is all yours.
Thank you, Madam Event Chair, for that flattering introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the semi-finals of the most spectacular debaters conference, Synergize 2021. I hope you've all got your popcorn ready to experience some intense debates lined up for tonight. For today's semi-finals, we have 2 sets of debates. Debate 1 is between Critical Thinkers and Oasis Advanced, and debate 2 is between Doha Advanced and Take the Bait. The winners of these debates will battle it out in the finals, that is tomorrow. Now, these 4 teams are the most powerful teams you'll come across because they are exciting and wizards of words. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Let me see some reactions. Go on, tell us how you feel. Is it happy, love, stressed? Pour it all out for our debaters for today. Awesome. Now let's have a look at our support team who's helping us conduct a smooth and seamless show for everyone here today. Starting off with our IT support team. We have with us Shweta Raghuraman, Bindu Pillai, Ajita Sadashivam, Leo Ortega, and Neshi Kumar. Moving on to our precise set of timers. We have timer number 1, Anuradha Kamath, timer number 2, Ala Alatiki, and timer number 3, Suhan Abdul Munaf. And for the proper counting of the scores, we have with us our ballot counters for today is Mustafa Ali Syed and Aji Joshua. Next, we have the president of the hosting club, Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club. We have Toastmaster Prince George. And now, To make sure our debaters are going to be judged in a proper manner, we have an aviation enthusiast with us. He has been a Toastmaster since 2002 and has the distinction of being a Toastmaster in 3 countries. He has taken up leadership roles almost every year, which has given him the opportunity to connect with Toastmasters all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our Chief Judge, DTM Safir Aziz. DTM Safir,
Thank you.
would you like to
Alina.
say a
Thank you.
few words to our debaters?
Not at this point in time. They are all experienced. I wish them all the best.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Judge. May I have your permission to introduce the debate moderator?
Of course, please go ahead.
Thank you. So, does everyone have their snacks ready? For we are about to begin. Our debate moderator for today has been a Toastmaster since 2015. He is a mechanical engineer by profession and a believer in the DIY. That is, do-it-yourself concept. Now, his skills ranges from fixing a blocked drain to baking a Mumbai pav. Hopefully not both at the same time. Now, the next time you look at the sky and wonder, is it a bird? Is it a plane? Most probably, it might be a plane that is flown by our debate moderator, for it is his dream to fly a plane someday. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our debate moderator, DTM Rajiv Nayak. DTM Rajiv, may the force be with you.
Thank you, Elena, for that wonderful introduction written by me, myself. Of course, you added a few things. Thank you very much for it. Otherwise, we would have got into a debate after the debate. So, good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to this debate session. Before we start that with the proper debate, please allow me to share a few ground.
Rajiv, you are on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Elena, for that wonderful introduction written by me. And you added a few things which made me very happy. Otherwise, we would have had a debate after the debate. So thank you very much for that. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to this debate session. Before we start with the debate proper, please allow me to share a few ground rules. This debate will follow the Toastmasters International's recommended format and will consist of 3 debaters on each side. And the speaking order is as follows. So we have the affirmative side in Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club. Team captain is Mubera. Second debater is Toastmaster Nilufar Samal. And the third debater is Toastmaster Remy Raji. The backup speaker is Toastmaster Ritesh KR. In the negative team, we have the Oasis Advanced Toastmasters Club. Team captain is Toastmaster K. Thayalan. Second debater is Toastmaster Debashis Shahu. Third debater is Toastmaster Aziz Mohammed. And backup speaker is Toastmaster Deepika Khattar. Debaters shall speak according to their team sequence, during which we kindly request you to keep your audios off and your microphones on mute. The chat will be disabled to everyone. Also, please remember that heckling any debater during the debate is not allowed. This was meant only for the audience, please note. Debaters are requested to keep their videos on all the time during the debate, devices charged and with stable internet connection. If any debater has unstable internet connection or is unable to speak for 30 seconds, the backup debater will take over exactly from where the connection was lost. Our timers for this debate are timer 1, Toastmaster Anuradha Kamath. Timer 2, Toastmaster Ala Al-Atiki. And timer number 3 is Toastmaster Suhan Munaf. Timer 1 will keep time for all speeches and mute and unmute affirmative team speakers. Timer 2 will mute and unmute the negative team speakers. And timer 3 will be backup and keep time with timer 1. If there is any connectivity issue with timer 1, timer 3 will take up timer 1's role within 5 seconds. The timing rules are as follows. The team captain's opening speeches will be for 5 minutes. The green light will be shown at 4 minutes 30 seconds. The yellow light will be shown at 4 minutes 40 seconds. And the red light will be shown at 4 minutes 50 seconds. The debater's microphone will be muted at 5 minutes exactly. Speeches by the second and the third debaters as well as the summary will be for 3 minutes. The green light will be shown at 2 minutes 30 seconds. The yellow light will be shown at 2 minutes 40 seconds. And the red light will be shown at 2 minutes 50 seconds. Debater's microphone will be muted at 3 minutes exactly. The cross-examination segment will be for 2 minutes. The green light will be shown at 1 minute 30 seconds. The yellow light will be shown at 1 minute 40 seconds. And the red light will be shown at 1 minute 50 seconds, after which microphones of the examiner and the respondent will be muted. There will be a 30 seconds time break before every constructive speech for the judges to mark their ballots. 5 minutes breakout session will be allocated for both sides to regroup and discuss before the summary speeches. Teams are offered the option to benefit from the breakout rooms, and they will be escorted by the assigned technical moderator, timer, and the chief judge. The backup debaters will accompany the teams. Technical moderators will ask the timers to start the 2-minute countdown after making sure all team members have joined the breakout room. Once the 5 minutes are over, the team members will be moved back to the main room. Please note, no new material is allowed during the summary speech. Normally, hold on a second. Normally, the moderator has the right to intervene when the debater gives new material, but to avoid technical glitches on this virtual platform, the moderator will indicate to the judges that there was evidence of new material for them to consider. The decision made by our judges is final. Address all remarks through the moderator only, please. Teams can role play that they represent an interest group, etc. Debaters shall treat each other with respect. Judges shall penalize debaters guilty of rudeness or browbeating. Debaters shall ask fair questions on relevant subject. Questions may originate from any speech given during the debate. Examiners shall be penalized for arguing with witnesses or making speeches instead of asking questions. The moderator may cut short a witness who stalls or answers at unreasonable length. Debaters shall give direct, honest answers. They must not evade questions. Moderators may intervene to stop evading. Witnesses are allowed to clarify an answer. Debaters being examined cannot ask questions except to clarify a question or when it is a rhetorical question related to question asked. A debater must not help a partner who has risen to examine or while he or she is answering questions. No heckling. Points of order or personal privileges may be raised during the debate. Rule violations may be raised by the debaters to the moderators only. Now, may I ask our Chief Judge, DTM Safir Aziz, if you are ready to proceed, sir?
Rajiv, a few things. I just want to ensure that both the teams are aware that both timers will be visible on screen at the same time, and you will be looking at the relevant timers. Are you all okay with that, the debate teams? Can you please show a thumbs up? Okay. Okay. Second, I would like to ask the technical team whether chat is disabled.
Yes, chat is disabled and unmuting facility is also disabled for the audience.
Okay, thank you. And have we enabled the share screen option in case any of the debate teams wants to share any
The screen
presentation?
option is available for the debaters.
Thank you. Thank you, Neshi. Rajiv, you may please proceed.
Thank you, sir. So are our debaters ready? Can I see a thumbs up? Yes, good. Are our guests and audience ready? I can't see them, but I believe they are ready too. So can we have, I think all the 8 debaters are on the Zoom screen. I can see only, yeah, okay, they're all there. Also the backup speakers are not there. Are the backup speakers not there on the Zoom screen? Zoom master?
We'll be adding the.
Please unmute.
Affirmative 4 is not here.
Can you please make sure that the backup debaters are also on the Zoom screen, please?
Yeah.
Chief Judge and debate moderator, I would like to bring to your attention that the 4th speaker from the affirmative side, Ritesh KR, is not available at this moment. He is not able to log in. I believe debater Nilofer will step in if needed as a backup speaker.
Okay. And what about the second team, madam?
Second team, Deepika is there. Ajita, if you can.
All 4 are there.
Can you, no, but can you spotlight Deepika on the screen, please?
She's spotlighted, looks like.
No, I can't see her.
If the
You
slide
can only spotlight 9.
Okay, probably because of the
You only
screen
spotlight
sharing.
9,
It's
yeah.
fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay. So then let the debate begin. A resolution of the debate is resolved that United Nations should be reformed. I repeat, a resolution for this debate. Resolved that United Nations should be reformed. I now invite the captain of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Mubera. Toastmaster Mubera, please unmute yourself and repeat the word, Synergize Conference rocks.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible. Toastmaster Mubera, you may begin your constructive speech now.
Good evening. The motion today is the United Nations should be reformed. We, Team Affirmative, firmly support the motion. Let us define some important terms. United Nations is an international organization founded in 1945, made up of 193 member states. The UN aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, and be the center for harmonizing international relations. UN is the world's largest, most representative, and most powerful international organization. Reform is to make changes in an institution or practice in order to improve it. Team Affirmative comprises me, that is Mo, and I will place before you the necessity for reform. Our second speaker, Nilofer, will speak on the areas of reform. Our third speaker, Remy, will unveil the reform roadmap. Let's debate. Since its inception in 1945, the global geopolitics has changed drastically, and that calls for reform of the UN in order to meet 21st century challenges like terrorism, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, the pandemic, climate crisis, cybersecurity, and poverty. Argument 1. The United Nations has failed to prevent genocide many times. Millions of people have been massacred and displaced since 1945. The UN has failed to stop the Rwandan genocide in 1994, where over 800 were massacred in 100 days. In Darfur, Sudan, 2003, almost 300,000 Sudanese civilians were killed. Argument 2, the United Nations has been rendered ineffective to tackle COVID-19 as powerful members continue to ignore the UN Charter and its resolution. China blocked a serious discussion on the origin and sources of the crisis, while the US walked out of the WHO on allegations that the WHO supports China, which rendered the world helpless as the UN grapples with action paralysis. Argument 3, the abuse of the veto power by the 5 permanent nations. Veto powers that allow UK, US, Russia, China, and France to place its narrow, selfish interests ahead of the need to end raging conflicts. United States vetoes action against Israel, whereas Palestine doesn't have a powerful ally in the UN. Statista reports since 2008, 5,600 Palestinian lives have been lost and 115,000 injured. The civil war in Syria has killed over 220,000 people. Russia vetoes UN Security Council resolutions against Syria. Let's continue. Argument 4, the toothless UN peacekeeping operations. United peacekeepers have been unable to stop the Srebrenica massacre, where 8,000 Bosnians who had fled to a UN-declared safe zone were killed in 1995. In Cambodia, between the years 1975 and 79, the Khmer Rouge had executed over 2.5 million people before a UN peacekeeping mission ended the violence between 1991 and 1995. It took 20 years. Argument 5, the UN faces challenges against multilateralism as we see growing rivalry between great powers, the main stakeholders of the system. The rise of the new Cold War, the conflict between US on one hand and China and Russia on the other hand is our new reality. Check the graphic before you. The US and Russia have vetoed the maximum number of times of GA resolutions. So, sweeping reforms have been proposed by none other than the current UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, in 2017, and they were adopted by the General Assembly in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, veto is the clear tool that will stimulate the UN and enable it to.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mubera. Toastmaster Mubera, please unmute yourself and please repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks. Now you have to unmute yourself.
Rajiv, probably.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You're audible and visible. I now invite the captain of the negative team, Toastmaster Thayalan. Toastmaster Thayalan, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Thayalan, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Thank you. My worthy opponent, this debate is on the futuristic concept, and for the reform to happen, we must have some plans and policies. Where is your plans and policies? You have not put anything here.
Yes, sir. My team members will elaborate on the plans and policies, and they will give you the areas of reform and the roadmap for reform. It was spelled out in my speech.
Okay. And you are talking only about the genocide. Do you think UN is to be reformed only on the genocide area or something else also?
No, sir.
On genocide.
UN needs many reforms, like you are saying. UN needs to be reformed on many other areas, but genocide, killing, loss of innocent lives, the collateral of civilian loss of lives and displacement takes precedence, because first and foremost, the UN Charter says security.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
But do you think UN can get into each countries and monitor their issues, or they have to monitor inter-country relationships?
So the UN is made up of 193 nations. They comprise the Security Council. If the UN is reformed so that each country can put its point of view across, put its considerations across, the UN with the correct reforms will be able to save the world from further genocide and massacres and loss of innocent lives.
Okay. You said UN's inability for the COVID. Don't you understand that UN has played a vital role in bringing out this genocide, and who WHO put so much of effort and research and approving the medicines? I would say UN has done so much, but why are you not understanding that good things?
Thank you, Toastmaster Mu. Thank you, Toastmaster Thayalan. 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballots. Timer to indicate the time, please. Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Thayalan, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference rocks. Unmute yourself, sir.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Thayalan, you may begin your constructive speech now.
Debate moderator, my worthy opponents and fellow Toastmasters, good evening. We are negative team opposing the motion United Nations should be reformed. As a team leader, I would take our stand on the definition of the motion and speak on why United Nations should not be reformed. Debater number 2, Debashis, will speak on the critical analysis of why UN should continue to exist. Debater number 3, Aziz, will speak on with further support why it should not be reformed. We, the negative team, partially agree the definition provided by the opponent team, especially on the United Nations, but we wanted to redefine the word reform. Your reform means is to put an end to by enforcing or introducing a better method or course of action. As of date, 9 countries possess nuclear weapons, but we did not have any world war for the last 75 years. Thanks to the effective existing team wants to reform the UN to dilute the current dynamics of UN, and that may result in another world war. I urge the House to remember it is a futuristic debate involving plans and policies to reform the United Nations. Unfortunately, our opposing team leader did not bring out any plans or policies in her opening speech to give an idea for the opposing team about their plans. Even in the cross-examination, I did not get proper answer for that. It is like building a castle in the air. Our team strongly and resolutely opposed the motion because by looking at the objective of UN, we need only some development for betterment and not reform. Argument number 1, UN was set up to maintain peace, security, develop friendly relationship among nations, and so on. Ever since UN was chartered, we did not have a world war or not had any war involving major number of countries. Argument number 2, another mandate of UN was to give equal representation to all countries. As of now, 193 countries are members of UN and they all have their say in United Nations. Argument number 3, UN does not have any military of its own, but it has been successfully promoting peacekeeping among member countries, especially in countries that were undergoing disturbances. Maybe there are few ideal occasions where the little failure would have been there, but as a whole, the UN peacekeeping is doing very effectively. As per United Nations report on 31st August 2020, 119 countries out of 193 countries contributed to peacekeeping activities. It proves that 62% of member countries are united together to carry forward UN mandate on peace and security, not only between countries, but also within countries. This peacekeeping activity clearly shows how effectively UN is utilizing almost 2/3 of its member countries for promoting peace. It also shows what is the hold and power that UN is having on its member countries. Argument number 4, financing of UN activities. The current contribution scale valid for 2019 to 2021 was adopted by UN General Assembly in December 2018. The 4 largest contributors to the United Nations are the US 22%, China 12%, Japan 8.5%, and Germany 6%. Together finance some 49% of the entire UN budget. If reform is made and power and authority is divided between more countries, then they should also contribute reasonably to UN financing. Due to the COVID pandemic, every country's finance is depleted. Recession is on. Even well-to-do countries are depending on other countries' aid. If UN reform happens at this time, no new countries can bear the financing and UN may collapse. Argument number 5, national accountability offers escape to impunity. More power to more nations will create opportunities for wrongdoing. In conclusion, any reform should take comprehensive view by taking into consideration of all aspects of peace.
Thank you, Toastmaster Thailand. Toastmaster Thailand, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You're audible and visible, sir. I now invite the second speaker of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Nilufar Samal. Toastmaster Nilufar Samal, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You're audible and visible, ma'am. Toastmaster Nilufar Samal, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Thank you, debate moderator. I would like to ask my worthy opponent, Toastmaster Thailand, do you think nukes and nuclear weapons are necessary for mankind? And if not, why the UN has failed in piling up nukes by so many nations?
Nuclear weapons, nuclear energy is, first of all, is very important. That is the reason it is happening. And in case something is required, they may be using.
But the UN has failed to stop the piling up of nukes. Nations like Iran, North Korea are piling up nukes. Can you explain this?
Why you are concerning on Iran and North Korea? Then why are you not considering other countries? You should ask a question on that, not to countries that have not enriched that.
Okay, do you know that the US owes the UN $3 billion in its own contributions towards the US funds? You said US contribution is 22% maximum, but for the past 2 years, US has not paid its dues to the UN. How will this play out in the future? Can you please tell us?
Unfortunately, I am the Treasury Secretary of US. I will not be able to answer this question. But UN is that was passed in the UN Assembly in December 2018. That is the data. It is published officially.
Okay. Do you think that one country like US contributing 22% of the UN budget will have a hold over the UN on its policies and will be totally
why other countries are not coming forward? Why other countries are not coming forward to contribute more? They want to have a free lunch. It's not possible.
Rajiv, you are on mute.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nilufar. Thank you, Toastmaster Dayalan. 30 seconds for the judges to mark the ballots, please. Timer to indicate the time. Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Nilufar Samal, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize conference rocks.
You're audible and visible, ma'am. Toastmaster Nilufar, you may begin your constructive speech.
Thank you, debate moderator. My worthy opponent focused on the past successes and expects the pattern to continue in the future, thus employing the slippery slope fallacy. He conveniently ignored the failures of the UN and gave biased arguments. He was clearly not aware of the facts related to the finances of the UN, which was clear in my cross-examination. Now, my first argument in favor of the motion: a defunct UN Security Council. The Security Council has the primary responsibility of maintaining international peace and security, but there is gross underrepresentation. The UNSC does not reflect today's distribution of military and economic power, nor a geographical balance. The structure of the 15-member Security Council out of 193 nations ought to be more democratic and representative. Secondly, the power and purpose of the veto has been repeatedly misused by the permanent members of the Security Council to either support their allies or themselves. They place their own national interests above humanitarian values, which they are supposed to defend. My second argument: the General Assembly reforms. The UN General Assembly can only make non-binding recommendations. This is another reason for ineffectiveness of the UN and another important issue for UN reform. Also, the functioning of the Secretariat is centralized and excessively bureaucratic. My third argument: the Economic and Social Council, one of the main arms of the UN, has been criticized in several publications and otherwise, as it has become overshadowed by institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank, which lack democratic processes, transparency, and accountability. My fourth argument: the UN financial crisis. UN is in a permanent financial crisis due to the unwillingness of many members to pay their contributions on time and over-dependence on the US. UN has a deficit of 5.1 billion as of September 2020. Sustainable funding is crucial for the ability of the UN to do what it was set up to do and break out of the circle dominated by a few large donors and the way in which they are influencing decision-making, agenda setting, shaping priorities, and skewing implementation across the system. My fifth argument: peacekeeping reforms. Laws prohibiting the use of force were ineffective during the Israel-Palestine conflict, Kashmir dispute, Cambodia violence, Somalia, Rwanda, Yemen, Syrian civil wars, Srebrenica massacre, Iraqi invasion, and Myanmar crisis. The death and destruction which continues in the present age is an unclouded.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nilufar. Toastmaster Nilufar Samar, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize conference rocks.
You're audible and visible, ma'am. I now invite the second speaker of the negative team, Toastmaster Debashish Sahu. Toastmaster Debashish Sahu, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Debashish Sahu, you may now begin your cross-examination.
Thank you, DMOD. So Toastmaster Nilufar, let's go back to the League of Nations. Could you please tell me why the League of Nations get reformed into UN?
Can you please repeat your question?
Why the League of Nations get reformed into United Nations in 1945?
No, the League of Nations was dissolved and the United Nations was formed with a fresh charter in San Francisco in 1945. The League of Nations failed to stop the World War II, and the United Nations was a brand new body given birth by the victors of World War II. So please check your history, sir.
Yeah, so many organizations related with League of Nations came to United Nations. So that is the history.
No, there were no organizations in the League of Nations. There were nations, countries
There are wings.
as a part of the League of Nations.
So there were
There were
wings
no
which-
organizations in that, please.
Okay, fine. So are you anticipating a World War II, World War III?
Right now, I'm not anticipating a World War III.
Okay. That means for the last 76 years, UN has been able to stop World War III, right?
This is mainly because has been
Yes
a
or no,
balance of powers. There has been a balance of powers. There has been a Cold War. There has been a balance struck between the East and the West. And that is why there has been no full-scale escalation into the Third World War.
You talked about so many problems, but you did not talk about World War III because UN has been able to stop World War III from happening. And that is the achievement of UN. What's your comment on that?
UN is not the only factor. There are so many factors into play. The world politics doesn't play out only at the UN. There are so many other.
Thank you, Toastmaster Niloufar, and thank you, Toastmaster Debashish. Toastmaster Debashish, can you unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks?
Rajiv, we need to give the 30 seconds for the judges to.
Oh, sorry. 30 seconds for the judges to mark the ballots. I'm sorry. Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Debashish, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
And repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks?
Synergize Conference Rocks.
Okay, Toastmaster Debashish Rao, you may begin your constructive speech now.
We have many body parts, internal and external, with 206 bones. But the most important parts are arguably brain, heart, kidney, liver, lungs, and the 5 senses. What happens when there is a problem in any of the body parts? Do we reform our body? No. We take medicine, or in worst case scenario, we do take some operation. I'm sure the judges, our worthy opponents, and all who are present today in this forum would have understood why I gave this example. My example talked about representation, veto power, internal dynamics, bodily challenges that we face every single day. I think it's summed up. It is like a model UN. Today, our worthy opponents talked about reforming the UN. Tomorrow, they might say, we must reform the solar system because the environment is getting hotter and hotter. We feel that reforming UN is practically impossible because we feel that reforms are expensive, ineffective, and results are absolutely probabilistic. Our point number 1 is, has UN become absolutely obsolete that it need to be reformed? Is it so fundamentally flawed that we should reform it? Point number 2, what is the guarantee that the so-called reformed UN will be able to do what UN has been delivering for the last 76 years? Point number 3, how will the power distribution happen? Is it based on size of the country? Is it based on population? Is it based on GDP? Is it based on military or the funding that they do? Will the P5 lose its relevance in the world politics? What will happen if the P5 are not a part of UN? And most importantly, who will decide that? will the P5 and other 10 not decide the so-called reform? If they decide the reform, is the reform going to happen? If they're not a part of the reform, then will it be democratic? Ladies and gentlemen, the organization is only as strong as the will of its member states. The United Nations system relies on collective will of all its members. The former Secretary General of UN, Hammarskjöld, once said, UN is there not to take humankind to the heaven, but to save it from the hell. How powerful is the statement? Our opponents are questioning the relevance of UN, but they ignored that it is a global think tank in terms of social, human, economic development, and most importantly, peace and security. In today's global world, no member state, no matter how powerful it is, whether it is US or UK, can disengage from multilateralism. UN has been buried many times by critics, but it has survived. It has survived because the world needs a multilateral forum and a framework of international rules to create order and assist security. Hence, we feel
Thank you, Toastmaster Debashish Rao. Can you unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks?
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Now I invite the third speaker of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Remy Raji. Toastmaster Remy Raji, please unmute yourself. Repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Remy, you may begin your cross-examination now.
My worthy opponent, Debashish, I have one question for you. You had an analogy of body parts. Do you regard the right of some nation on people living in some nation should have more rights than people living in another nation?
So far as US, UK, these kind of countries are concerned, they have got business engagement in the rest of the countries.
Can you give in yes or no?
It cannot be given in yes or no. When this is a global environment, we have got business interest. That means US would like to protect rest of the countries. US will not want the rest of the countries.
I have a next question for you. Do you agree that there is economic, military and political shift happened in last 75 years? Do you agree that?
Yes, many things have happened. Change is a part of the world. Change is inevitable.
Just now you have mentioned change is inevitable. Then what is stopping you from change in UN itself?
I'm not stopping the change. I'm saying the reform need not happen. Some development should happen. Continuous development has been happening and it will continue to happen. I'm not liking the word reform.
Thank you, debate moderator. My worthy opponent had answered all my questions.
Thank you, Toastmaster Debashish, and thank you, Toastmaster Remy. 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballot. Timer to indicate the time, please. Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you, the timer. Toastmaster Remy Raji, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Remy Raji, you may begin your constructive speech now.
Good evening, debate moderator, my worthy opponents, and the esteemed floor. My worthy opponents emphasized a lot on the achievements of the United Nations in past 75 years. After all, the horses were replaced by cars, not for non-performance, but cars had a better utility. A better world needs a better system in place, and we stand resolute for the motion. I have 5 arguments. My first argument, continued engagement for implementation of the Declaration of Shared Commitments. For the past many years, we had shared values and shared commitments. For the next phase, from 2021 and beyond, Action for Peacekeeping, A4P, needs to analyze and persistent demand and challenges faced in its operation, defining a limited number of global priorities for the operations of each A4P thematic area. And this will provide a strategic direction for reform efforts as proposed by Jean-Pierre Lacroix, USG Peace Operations. My second argument, peace operation will need more strategic integration. It is important to deepen the integration within US operation among the civilian and the uniformed components of UN operations, as well as with UN country teams. It ensures that all actions are coherent with and contribute to the blanket political strategies that advance lasting peace. My third argument is creation of a new department for international solidarity. According to the official records of 2021 peacekeeping ministerial meeting, it is only through strengthened joint and collective international action which we can ensure that progress continues to be made in the right direction. A department which ensures the international solidarity is the need of the hour. My fourth argument, implementing an effective funding arrangement. UN has a deficit of 5.1 billion as of 2020. Glenn Moreover, in an article published in Social Journal of Justice, after Congo crisis, UN finances has become a neglected area, plagued with budgetary problems. To bring better quality, quantity, and predictability of the resources, the current 2-year budgets needs to get annual. Lastly, my fifth argument is changes in the management reforms. There was a clear agreement between the member states and the UN leadership that their system need to be reworked in order to reduce the redundancy across the US agency and better position for the United Nations. UN celebrated its 75th anniversary in 2020, but for the organization's future, one thing is clear. Change is hard, but change is inevitable. Over to debate.
Thank you, Toastmaster Remiraji. Toastmaster Remiraji, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. I now invite the third speaker of the negative team, Toastmaster Aziz Mohammed. Toastmaster Aziz Mohammed, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Aziz Mohammed, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Thank you, moderator. My fellow debater, Remy, good evening. With the funding arrangement, you just highlighted that 2 years budget has to be made annual. What impact does that make on the whole UN funding arrangement as such?
No, I have mentioned the reason also. It will have better planning, and it will give better predictability.
But what about the sources of funding? How does it help with the sources of funding?
Sources also of funding also need reformation, because current funding arrangement is dependent heavily on few countries, but that has to be expanded because there is a big economic.
How would you
expand it to more countries? Expanded to more countries.
Now, there was a research before putting taxes, financial reform, putting on taxes. The global resource dividend report also is published, but it fortunately fell flat. Did you know about it?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
There were previous reforms, the previous initiatives mentioned about introducing funding called the Global Resources Dividend Fee. Which are you aware of it? Do you know why did it fell flat? It was not implemented.
Yeah, it fell flat because they could not get consensus of the other states.
So how do you expect further consensus to get on the funding thing?
Yeah, that's why if the UN has
debated, it has to be developed, it has to be looked into.
Yeah, if it has more participation, then it will has more consensus.
You talked about creation of a new department, international solidarity. There are already so many functions in UN. Don't you think putting one more function onto it would make it cumbersome, lethargic, and delay the process and decision-making?
No, main failure of UN policies happened because of having no consensus among many opinions. Because whenever there is
so how the consensus would be drawn on these new international solidarity function?
Yeah, that body is particularly focused to get consensus among the states and various stakeholders involved.
Thank you, Toastmaster Remy, and thank you, Toastmaster Aziz. 30-second silence for the judges to mark the ballots. Timer to indicate the 30 seconds, please. Thank you, timer. Toastmasters Aziz, can you please unmute yourself and repeat the words? Synergize Conference rocks.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. You may give your constructive speech now.
Thank you. Moderator, jury members, fellow debaters, and guests, wish you all a very, very good evening. Well, our team has put forward today substantial arguments, and now I look forward to further support to resolve that UN should not be reformed. Well, our friends from the affirmative team have put forward claims, but have not really supported with practical solutions. As a matter of fact, these matters have already been debated in the UN for a long, long time, including permanent membership, expanding Security Council, introducing new functions, and even removing veto for that matter. There are many practical challenges to the proposed claim. Firstly, there is no consensual agreement on greater representation. Secondly, increasing the council membership poses size efficiency concerns, as expanding the council is likely to result in a cumbersome setup leading to delays and inefficiency. Increasing membership would lead to expanding important topics from the council's agenda and making effective council action difficult. In consequence, debate, negotiations would be laborious and time-consuming, and also consultation with capitals, time zones, multiple languages will further burden it. Further, abolishing or diluting veto raises concerns about leadership voids and funding for UN programs. Even if veto is not used for a period of time or for specific concern, it merely would delay the inevitable and prompt lower decision making. Giving the UN any kind of actual governance powers raises the question of how these powers could actually be carried out. Finally, not only do reforms risk entrenching existing problems and creating new efficiencies, they might not even be an effective route for better representation. Well, my friends, United Nations is an organization which believes in inclusivity and consensual agreement. With so many questions remaining unanswered, it is highly unlikely that any practical solution can be reached in the near future. During the current times, it must be taken into consideration there are major concerns pertaining to human life, economy, jobs, climate control, among many others. It is of utmost importance that the UN put resources towards this end, as any reforms at this end would only put undue pressure on the United Nations and other nations. I hope that you all would agree with me on this particular topic as such, and help me in supporting that the UN should not be reformed. Thank you, and over to the moderator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aziz Mohammed. Toastmaster Aziz Mohammed, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference rocks.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. I now invite the captain of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Mo Bera. Toastmaster Mo Bera, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference rocks.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, ma'am. Toastmaster Mo Bera, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Toastmaster Aziz, my worthy opponent, you mentioned that it is difficult to give additional veto powers to other countries because it's directly related to funding. Do you agree with this, sir?
I didn't say it was directly related to funding, but funding is one of the factors which
Yes,
also has to be
sir. So you
holistically
believe
considered.
that, yes, sir. You believe that then countries will exercise that power to veto because they are bringing more money to the table, right?
I believe
Thank you,
diluting
sir.
the veto will, sort of make it ineffective and make it more laborious, and decision making will
Thank you, sir.
definitely be a
You
problem.
also said that increasing the membership will make it more laborious, more time consuming. Do you believe that When you have multiple representations, you have a multilateral approach, it brings about better democratic decision making?
I believe it is already in there. 193 countries are being represented out there.
So 193 countries, there are only 15 countries, sir, represented in the Security Council. 5 of them are
Members
permanent.
keep changing. The non-permanent members keep changing. It is not static. No.
Thank you,
the number
sir.
is static, 15 years.
Thank you, sir. Do you believe that the human body, since we got a lesson in biology too, do you believe that in the human body we need to reform and change our diet and medication to function better?
Yes, I do believe.
Thank you, sir. Do you believe that the appendix can be removed and surgically excised so that I can reform my body to perform better?
But you don't do it intentionally.
No, sir, but it has to be done, others I'll die. Thank you, sir. The solar system, as mentioned by one of our worthy opponents, doesn't need reform because it's already doing the job that it needs to. Thank you, sir. Do you believe that there is a concept of a free lunch in an organization that has 193 members? Are we being patronizing, sir?
You didn't get it right. He didn't mention about free lunch as in free lunch as you have understood it.
Thank you, sir. So the fact that countries.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aziz, and thank you, Toastmaster Mo. 30 seconds for the judges to mark the ballots. Timer to indicate the time, please. Thank you, timer. Tech team, please prepare breakout rooms for our affirmative and negative teams. Sergeant at Arms, please ensure that all debaters are in their respective breakout rooms. Zoom master to confirm to me that all the debaters are in their respective breakout rooms, please.
Yes, debate moderator, everyone will be moved to the breakout room now.
And please confirm once they are all there.
Yes. I confirm that all the debaters and respective sergeant at arms are in the breakout rooms.
Okay, now timer 1, please start the timing for 5 minutes countdown, and please inform me once the 5 minutes are over.
Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Five minutes are over. Let us bring back our debaters into the room, please. Zoom master, please confirm all debaters are in the meeting room. I need to see them all in the on the screen.
They'll be here in 10 seconds.
Okay. Make sure they are all on the screen, please. All are in?
Yeah, we have all the people, all the debaters here.
All the debaters are in. Okay. Chief Judge, maybe proceed with the summary, please.
Rajiv, do you want the other debate team members also to be spotlighted or
No,
only
it's
the
okay. I just need the captains because they are only doing the summary, so it's fine.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So may I proceed, sir?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I now invite the captain of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Mo Bera. Toastmaster Mo Bera, please unmute yourself and repeat the words, Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You're audible and visible, ma'am. You can start your summary speech now.
Good evening. Our worthy opponents have failed to defend the motion. Most of my worthy opponents' arguments backed on unilateral bias and were flagrantly dismissive about the need to prevent further bloodshed. They rested on UN laurels without any introspection on its failures. My worthy opponents committed numerous fallacies, and they had loaded questions and cognitive biases, such as anchoring and misguided analogies and hitting below the belt while patronizing. What is a free lunch, I wonder? They contradicted themselves almost everywhere. They had several assumptions which undermined the gravity of the current situation, the battles and the wars that we are currently facing, which have been elaborated in my speech before. Whereas we, Team Affirmative, we stand undaunted, unwavering in our belief that the United Nations, in order to stay relevant, must undergo reform. We substantiated our claims with observations from studies from various institutions, journals, and organizations. Friends, the need for reform is irrefutable. Millions have lost their lives or have been displaced as powerful nations make surgical strikes on UN resolutions using their vetoes instead of supporting de-escalation. UN was ineffective during the Israel-Palestine conflict, the Kashmir dispute, Cambodia violence, Somalia, the list goes on. Lack of accountability and centralized bureaucratic structure makes the functioning of the UN so much more difficult to handle. It's colossal and it results in colossal loss of wastage of resources. The UN Security Council is not democratic. It is unilateral, and the countries are using their veto powers to promote their own selfish motives. The UN General Assembly can only make non-binding recommendations and is often reduced to an advisory role with no executive authority. UN's financial crisis has deepened because of the willingness of their members to pay up and thus hampering implementation of key action plans across the system. My worthy opponents mentioned in their definition that reforms means developmental improvements. What else is reform but improvement on our current system? The UN stands for peace, for dignity, for equality. The preamble to the UN will stir you. We, the peoples of the United Nations, and that is why we believe we have to support this motion. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mobera. 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballots, please. Timer to indicate the time. Thank you, Timer. I now invite the captain of the negative team, Toastmaster Thalan. Toastmaster Thalan, please unmute yourself and repeat the words, Synergize Conference rocks.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You're audible and visible, sir. You can now start your summary speech.
Good evening once again. Our opponent team, they have not had enough material evidences to support, but they were trying to manipulate with words to divert the attention or of the judges. I simply request our jury to ensure that don't ever consider that manipulative words to divert the facts. And since it is a policy debate, we couldn't understand there's any policies or plans they did bring it to the table. They were talking everything on the air without any concrete plan or policies. That is a failure. And if at all something has to happen, the speaker number 1 should have brought those policies and plans in the for the debate table so that everyone would have able to understand that. But the speaker number 3 was trying to bring something at the end, but that doesn't warrant a reform, but it was only a development aspects of those ideas. Then our opponent team, they have not spoken anything about the representation. They were talking about the reform, but which countries will represent in the reformed structure of UN? Well, who is going to decide about that representation? That is not clearly brought on to the sun. Then my worthy opponent spoke about the appendix, removal of appendix by surgery. Yes, removal of appendix of surgery, it is a minor surgery. It is not the reformation for the body. Please understand that. And also, our third speaker said about the declaration of shared commitment, that is already existing in UN. That part is it doesn't require any other reformation to declare declaration of commitment. See, again, the pandemic, we all have to understand when COVID-19 struck, it was the UN was acted fast enough to declare a pandemic. That alerted all the nations to take immediate actions to bring that down. And also immediately they supported with a lot of aid to the required countries to curb that issue. And also they spent countless hours of energy and all to bring out new medicine vaccines, and they motivated the pharmacies to come out with the vaccines, and they get a quick licensing to ensure that vaccines are in the market to eradicate this thing. Had WHO didn't act immediately, the casualties would have been multifolded. It would have been a very chaos in the society. I'm sincerely, again, the funding of the UN, they were saying, but they were talking about that, but they did not bring any proof for that. I request the jury to please, if you understand, if you go for this one.
Thank you, Toastmaster Thayalan. 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballots, please. Timer to indicate the time. Thank you, timer. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the debate. May I request our Chief Judge and the ballot counters to proceed to their breakout rooms to compile the results.
Rajiv, we are not leaving now. You may proceed as per your plan.
Okay, so I'm going to present the certificate, sir. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes, please, you go ahead and proceed as planned. We will go to the breakout room only after the second debate.
Okay. It is my pleasure to present the certificate of participation. Zoom Master, can you display the certificates? Thank you. So here are the certificates for the debate 1. The first certificate is for Toastmaster Mo Bera. The second one is for Toastmaster Nilufar Samal. The third one is for Toastmaster Remy Raji. The fourth one is for the backup speaker, Toastmaster Ritesh KR. Now comes the negative team, OSS Advanced Club, Toastmaster K. Thayalan, Toastmaster Debashish Sahu, Toastmaster Aziz Mohammed, and the backup speaker, Toastmaster Deepika. Give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. What a lovely debate we had in the right spirit of debating, and there was absolutely, they followed the rules, and I'm very happy that it went off in a very, very correct way of debating of Toastmasters. Thank you very much, team. Congratulations. Whoever wins doesn't matter. Congratulations to all of you. Now I hand over the proceedings back to our MC of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, debate moderator Rajiv Naik. Wow. Did everyone feel the heat? What did I say? This debate is going to be intense, and so it was. Did you have to turn up the cooling back at your home? I sure did. So let's give it up for our first round of debaters. You all did a fantastic job. Can I see some reactions, everyone? So how is everyone doing? Pretty exhausted, yes? I sure need a quick break after that intense session that I just witnessed. So ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick break and be back in 5 minutes. Go and prepare that chai or cold coffee, and I'll see you back real soon.
Are we allowed to speak now?
Yes, you
Yeah. Host, this is Surya from Affirmative team in the second debate.
1 second, Surya. Can you reduce the volume of the music? Yes, Surya.
Yeah. So this is Surya, the affirmative team from in the second debate, and all three of us will have presentations. Please note.
Yeah, noted.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. I think those who are on mobile, you can have the mobile on the landscape mode so that we can have a better viewing of yours. Those who are connected through the mobile speakers, especially.
I'm not able to open my video in my laptop, my main device. Can somebody work at it? The host can look at it. It's saying you cannot start the video because the host has stopped it.
Video.
Yeah, Surya.
Video.
There's Surya video and Surya audio. Nishi.
Okay. It will be two different ones, right?
Yeah. Video will be shown in that, and audio will be through the one which he spoke now. In that, the audio, video won't be on.
Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, can you just try speaking from the laptop audio?
No, from mobile, I'm shifting the audio. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Surya, I have a question. This is regarding I think yours will be audio, right? Surya audio that is to be muted by the negative, no, by the affirmative.
Surya, you'll have to unmute. You'll have to unmute the audio each time.
He might not.
Yeah. So the other device which I'm using for video, I have already muted it from my side. You can do it from your side also. It'll never. The audio of that will never be open from my side.
Then which one do we need to mute and unmute? Because you are
audio one.
The audio.
The audio, Gayatri, the audio.
One which says audio.
Timer 1 has noted. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Nirmala.
Hi, Bindu. Excellent job. I heard you in the beginning. You were awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks to all of you for all your hard work. Really, you are entertaining us. I am enjoying the debate.
Yeah.
Nice.
When two people are fighting, the ones who enjoy are the people who are sitting on the sidelines. Always. I know that.
No, it is not a fight, it's like a healthy argument, right?
There is a saying in Tamil.
Yeah.
ஊரு ரெண்டு பட்டா கூத்தாடிக்கு வாழ்வு.
True.
Yeah.
That is okay.
Translation, please. Tamil lo pesade.
Yeah, translate, please.
But especially Mobera, I feel that you should be in channels hereafter. Really, more.
It says when a village.
One point is for sure.
Yeah.
It says
Sure,
the Tamil
Mobera
saying
husband is having a tough time.
Yeah.
No, that patching and all women will do better. Don't worry. More correct.
Hey, by the way, Nilofer is there.
I will always support more. No worries.
Nilofer. You know.
All women
not
fight also.
Maybe on break.
He was
We are on break now.
Yeah, move. I don't know if you seen her. She was on her way to glory during the serious debate.
Yeah. I heard that her husband changed her name to No Bera. He cannot bear her. Not Mumbai.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think our
Surya,
5
you
minutes
live
are
in
up.
Doha, remember that.
Wait,
We are
Gayatri,
all, it
so
is time
silent.
to start. Yes.
It's time.
Wait,
5. Yes.
Gayatri is so silent.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good evening and welcome back. It's great to see the smile on your faces. That means both teams are ready and willing to take this challenge. Welcome back after the short break, ladies and gentlemen. We just finished an exciting debate earlier, and it's now to move to the second debate of the day. My name is Yusuf As-Sabloum, and I'm your Sergeant at Arms, and let us go over the ground rules for today. Please keep your mic muted unless you're asked to do. Our dear speakers, kindly avoid topics related to sex, religions, and politics in your speeches. And for a better viewing experience, it's highly recommended to switch your Zoom account to a speaker's view. Please note that the recording is on, and now it's time to hand over the proceedings to our MC, TM Alina Paul. Over to you, MC, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are all set and energized to synergize. We are moving on to the second debate for today. The winner of this round will be battling it out tomorrow for the finale. Before we begin, let's have a quick look at our support team, who's helping us conduct a smooth and seamless show for everyone. Starting off with our IT support team, we have with us Shweta Raghuraman, Bindu Pillai, Ajita Sadashivam, Leo Ortega, and Neshi Kumar. Moving on to our precise set of timers, we have timer number 1, Anuradha Kamath, timer number 2, Ala Alatiki, and timer number 3, Gayatri Ravindran. And for the proper counting of the scores, we have with us our ballot counters, Mustafa Ali Syed and Aji Joshua. Next, we have the president of the hosting club, Critical Thinkers Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Prince George. Toastmaster Prince George, can we get a hi from you? All right, I believe he's not here. Next, we have our chief judge, DTM Safir Aziz. And finally, the moment is here. Turn on your cooling, grab your Kool-Aids, for the debate is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our debate moderator, DTM Rajiv Nayak. DTM Rajiv Nayak, screen is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alina. You didn't mention whatever I stood for, DIY and all that. We'll have a debate after this debate. Okay, for sure. Anyway, thank you very much. Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to the second semifinals of this debate session. Before we start with the debate proper, please allow me to share a few ground rules. This debate will follow the Toastmasters International's recommended format and will consist of 3 debaters on each side, and their speaking order is as follows. For the affirmative team side is Doha Advanced Toastmasters Club. The team captain is Toastmaster Surya Narayan. The second debater is Alaka Patra, and the third debater is Melvin Buthello. The backup speaker is Toastmaster Hamid MT. For the negative side, the team is Take Debate Toastmasters Club. Team captain is Toastmaster Karthikeyan Murugesan. Second debater is Toastmaster Prashant Trikannar. And the third debater is Toastmaster Sandeep Vengsarkar. There is no backup speaker for the Take Debate team. Debaters shall speak according to the team sequence, during which we kindly request you to keep your video is off and your microphones on mute. The chat will be disabled for everyone. Also, please remember that heckling any debater during the debate is not allowed. These were the rules for the audience. For the debaters, they are requested to keep their videos on all the time during the debate. Device is charged, and make sure that your internet connections are stable. If any debater has an unstable internet connection or is unable to speak for 30 seconds, the backup debater will take over exactly from where the connection was lost. I would like to mention here, in case of take debate, since they have no backup speaker, any of the other teammates of the take debate team may take over. Our timers for this debate are timer number 1, Toastmaster Anuradha Kamath. Timer number 2 is Toastmaster Ala Latiki. And timer number 3 is Toastmaster Gayatri Ravindran. Timer number 1 will keep time for all speeches and mute and unmute affirmative speakers. Timer number 2 will mute and unmute the negative team speakers. And timer number 3 will be backup and keep time with timer number 1. If there is any connectivity issues with timer 1, timer 3 will take up timer 1's role within 5 seconds. Now, for the timing rules, they are as follows. The team captain's opening speeches will be for 5 minutes. The green light will be shown at 4 minutes 30 seconds. The yellow light will be shown at 4 minutes 40 seconds. And the red light will be shown at 4 minutes 50 seconds. The debaters' microphones will be muted exactly at 5 minutes. Speeches by the second and the third debaters, as well as the summary speeches, will be for 3 minutes. The green light will be shown at 2 minutes 30 seconds. The yellow light will be at 2 minutes 40 seconds, and the red light will be shown at 2 minutes 50 seconds. And of course, the microphones will be muted exactly at 3 minutes. For the cross-examination segment, it will be 2 minutes. The green light will be at 1 minute 30 seconds. The yellow light will be at 1 minute 40 seconds, and the red light will be shown at 1 minute 50 seconds, after which the microphones for the examiner and the respondent will be muted. There will be a 30 seconds time break before every constructive speech for the judges to mark the ballots. A 5 minutes breakout session will be allocated for both sides to regroup and discuss before the summary speeches. Teams are offered the options to benefit from the breakout rooms, and they will be escorted by the assigned technical moderator, timers, and the chief judge. Backup debaters will accompany the team, of course. Technical moderators will ask the timers to start the 2-minute countdown after making sure all team members have joined the breakout room. Once the 5 minutes are over, the team members will be moved back to the main room. No new material is allowed during the summary speech. Normally, the moderator has the right to intervene when a debater gives new material, but to avoid technical glitches on this virtual platform, in this particular case, the moderator will be indicating to the judges that there was evidence of new material for them to consider. The decision made by the judges is final. Address all the remarks through the moderator only. Team can role play that they represent an interest group, etc. Debaters shall treat each other with respect. Judges shall penalize debaters guilty of rudeness or browbeating. Debaters shall ask fair questions on relevant subjects. Questions may originate from any speech during the debate. Examiners shall be penalized for arguing with witnesses or making speeches instead of asking questions. Moderator may cut short a witness who stalls or answers at unreasonable length. Debaters shall give direct, honest answers. They must not evade questions. Moderator may intervene to stop evasion. Witnesses are allowed to clarify an answer. Debaters being examined cannot ask questions except to clarify a question or when it is a rhetorical question related to the question asked. A debater must not help a partner who has risen to examine or while he or she is answering the questions. No hecklings Points of order or personal privilege may be raised during the debate. Rule violations may be raised by the debater only to the moderator. May I now request our Chief Judge, DTM Safir Aziz, if we are ready to proceed, sir.
Just want to cross-check once again. Chat is disabled and the screen share access is provided to all the participants. Technical moderator, can you confirm, please?
Yeah, yes, the chat is disabled. Unmute facility is also disabled, and screen share facility is available for all.
Okay, and we can only show 9 people on the screen, so that's okay. You can proceed, Toastmaster Rajiv.
Thank you, Chief Judge. So are our debaters ready? Can I see a thumbs up? Thank you. Are our guests and audience ready? I can't see them, but I believe they are for sure. Now, we're all sorry.
Rajiv, I think there is a wrong
picture
that is shared on the screen right now.
Okay. That's what I'm seeing now. I can see all the 6 debaters on the screen.
No. There was a screenshot of a previous debate that was shown on screen a few seconds back.
Okay. Sorry. I've not been watching that. Okay. So we have all the 6 debaters on the screen. Yes. Zoom Master, can you confirm that the chat has been disabled for all?
Yes, it is disabled.
Okay. Thank you. So now let the debate begin. Our resolution for this debate is resolved that teaching cyber security should be made mandatory at school. I repeat, our resolution for this debate is resolved that teaching cyber security should be made mandatory at school. I now invite the captain of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Surya Narayan. Toastmaster Surya Narayan, please unmute yourself. Have you, sir, unmuted yourself? No, I don't see you unmuted yourself, please.
Can you see that now?
Yes. Okay, you're logged in from 2 devices, looks like. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
All right. So can you repeat the words Synergize Conference rocks?
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Surya Narayan, you may begin your constructive speech now.
Please allow me to share and then start the time.
Okay. Timer to note that.
The motion in the House is teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory at school. Before I get into the debate, let's look at some numbers from Enough is Enough and NGO. 21.7 million reports of suspected child sex exploitation in this year, in the year 2020, and a 28% increase over 2019. Girls appear in the overwhelming majority of child sex abuse material. Prepubescent children are the greatest risk to be depicted in CSAM. And children under the age of 10 now account for 22% of porn consumption, and 10 to 14 years make up 36% of minor consumers. Isn't that disturbing data for anybody who has got a son, daughter, brother, sister, or a grandson, granddaughter who's a teenager, who's a youngster going to school? Now let us look at the definition of the key terms in our debate motion. Cybersecurity is the art of protecting networks, devices, data, and unauthorized access from unauthorized access or criminal use, and the practice of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. This definition comes from Cybersecurity Information Security Agency, Department of Homeland Security, United States. By mandatory, we mean compulsory, non-negotiable. Education means a formal process of imparting and acquiring skills, knowledge to enable appropriate thinking, decision making, and action. And for school, we mean formal K-12 institution. Our children today use mobiles, tabs, laptops, or desktops for various things. They do classwork using these devices. They connect to meetings. They attend classes here. They search for data. They connect with their friends using different applications. They store data. They use these gadgets for application and for entertainment. They use it for navigation, and they do shopping. and all of them involve risks and dangers. Today's children are called digital natives. They naturally belong to the digital world. Their life revolves around gadgets. They are inseparable, the gadgets and the children, and the usage in education is set to increase. Blended education will be the new normal even when the COVID is gone. But unfortunately, the cyberspace is a Venus flytrap. It is so attractive, so colorful, and it is inviting the children to come in and then just closes its mouth and sucks them inside. And that's what the cyberspace is all about. The only solution to keep our children safe is education. And through education, we can expose them to the perils. We can help them prevent themselves from getting exposed, from being victimized. They need to know the policies and protocols, their privileges and penalties, and they should be prepared, and they can also become advocates and propagate good practice to other people. The motion in the House, I remind you, is teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory at school. The only argument that we need to make here is mandatory at school because teaching cybersecurity is non-negotiable. World Economic Forum says we need to start teaching young children about cybersecurity. This is in March 2020 report. Elementary school curricula should incorporate cybersecurity. We Live Security did a study of 4 countries where United Kingdom said their cybersecurity education will be compulsory from the year 2020. Spain is considering the same thing, and Argentina says cybersecurity education should be made mandatory part of the curricula, and Mexico says cybersecurity education must be compulsory in primary and secondary education. This is a report from University of Bristol, supported by UK National Cybersecurity Program. It says, bringing cybersecurity into secondary education is a necessary step. India Today reported a survey done by National Cybersecurity Alliance and Microsoft, where 91% of teachers, 92% of tech coordinators, and 99% of administrators believe that cybersecurity should be taught in schools. Now, Tech Guru says, with an increased teacher and student reliance on internet accessibility, the need to deliver cybersecurity skills to school children is more significant than ever. Friends, there are 5 reasons why we want to say cybersecurity should be taught at school mandatorily. First is the prevention. I will talk about it. Then the lurking demons in the cyberspace, and they expect the unexpected. These 2 angles will be carried out by Alaka, and then advocacy and advice, deterrence will be handled by my colleague Melvin. Now, prevention is better than cure. The predators are trying to catch the children young. That's why we need to teach them young, get them prepared to face the cyberspace. Friends, why in school? Let me talk about it. What happens at home cannot be monitored. Therefore, the children need to be taught only in school. Now, all parents are not experienced and skillful. The schools have professionals who are teaching professionals, and they can bring in experts from outside to teach the children. What we mean by teaching is not just classrooms.
Thank you, Toastmaster Suryanarayan. Toastmaster Suryanarayan, unmute yourself and repeat the words, Synergize Conference rocks. No, you're still not unmuted.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible.
Synergize Conference rocks.
Yeah, you are audible and visible, sir. Hold on a second. I now invite the captain of the negative team, Toastmaster Karthikeyan Murugesan. Toastmaster Karthikeyan, please unmute yourself and repeat the word, Synergize Conference rocks. Toastmaster Karthikeyan.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Karthikeyan, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Toastmaster Suryanarayan, I have a few questions for you, and I would like to have a yes or no as an answer for this. A very simple questions. The resolution on the floor is teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory at school. Yes or no?
Yes.
Will I be right if I say that the resolution on the floor is not, should cybersecurity be taught at school?
Of course it is, because that's why we are emphasizing why it should be made mandatory.
No, I think you didn't get my question right. I said, will I be right if I say that the resolution on the floor is not teaching cybersecurity should be in schools?
No, the point is first we should establish it should be taught in school, then we'll come to the mandatory part. We have to take it in
Fine.
step by step.
Thank you. Thank you very much. During your presentation, you had presented us with various data. They were all just articles which you had shown. Did you present us any research material to show that it is mandatory at school?
These are all articles based on research.
Yeah,
This is
thank
not
you.
somebody's
I just wanted to make the point that they
This
were
is
just
not
articles
opinion.
in
This
the,
is research
in the
data.
newspaper.
Every research, every paper presented is from research.
Thank you very much. Moderator, I do not have any more questions for my speaker here.
Thank you, Toastmaster Suryanarayan. Thank you, Toastmaster Karthikeyan. 30 minutes, 30 seconds silence for the judges, please. Timer to indicate the time. Okay. Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Karthikeyan, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You're audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Karthikeyan, you may begin your constructive speech now.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the House and respected jury. We, the Take Debate team, stand before you and strongly oppose the motion that's on the floor, which is teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory at school. At the outset, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that the key word in the resolution before us is mandatory. As per Merriam-Webster dictionary, the word mandatory is defined as something that is required by law or rule. In simple words, it means that you must do it. You have no choice. Today, I'd like to point out that the subject under debate is whether teaching cyber security should be made mandatory or not at school. In other words, should it or should it not be made a must by law? Our opposition will attempt to derail you from this focus by presenting to you the perils that exist in the digital world, how cybersecurity is important, and how we have to protect the children from all this. But is making it mandatory the only way to do this? There is a big difference between creating awareness to the children and making something mandatory to them. The matter of compulsion versus choice is a fundamental issue. A study conducted by the New Zealand Education and Youth Development Ministries in 2013 showed that educators gain greater satisfaction from and students achieve better results in subjects that they chose for themselves. If you really look deeper into it, you'll look at a research paper published in the Journal of Neurolinguistics in 2009 by Christensen and Ken from the Center for Functionally Integrative Neuroscience, Denmark. It infers that words like mandatory trigger negation and poor levels of performance. Now, I'd like to present before the House two case studies which will clearly show you that whenever teaching a subject is made mandatory at school, it triggers negative results. Case number one, in the United Arab Emirates, it is mandatory to teach Arabic at schools attended by non-natives. Since it is a mandatory MOE requirement, the educators, because it has no connection to the curriculum that is followed by the schools, for them it is just a box they tick in the MOE approval process. Since students also know that this subject is not a requirement for their board exams, they pay little or no attention at all to the subject. The teachers themselves go through the rudiments of teaching this, knowing fully well that the students are not really interested in learning this. End result, even after 10 years of studying this subject, students, when they pass out, have very little, or in most cases, no proficiency in the Arabic language. This is a stark reality that we all have to face. Case number two, back in my home country, India, in my native state of Tamil Nadu, years ago, when the national education policy of the country made teaching the Hindi language mandatory at school. It gave rise to violent protests and anti-Hindi protests and processions, and even led to a movement demanding secession from the union. It took a big toll on the political future of those who introduced this policy. The agitations and the calls for secession stopped only when the policy was withdrawn. The fallout of this is decades of hatred against a language. And today, it is even now the most sensitive topic in my state. This shows of the far-reaching impact that anything that is made mandatory at schools can have on a society. In both these cases, I have shown you that if teaching is meant to improve or impart knowledge and make the students proficient, making it mandatory only kills this very purpose. A report published in March 2021 in Advocate, a journal focusing on studying the shifts in education policy and organization and its impact on the quality of education in the United States, reported that one of the main issues that negatively impact the teaching and learning process is over-mandating. That is, federal governments and agencies forcing subjects onto the school even they are not prepared. Mark Twain said, "I will not let my schooling interfere with my education." Ladies and gentlemen, making teaching cyber security mandatory at school is an interference with education, both in the teaching and learning process, and it must be opposed. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karthikeyan. Toastmaster Karthikeyan, please unmute yourself and repeat the words. Synergize conference rocks.
Synergize conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Hold on a second. I now invite the second speaker of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Alaka Patra. Toastmaster Alaka Patra, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize conference rocks.
Synergize conference rocks.
You are audible and visible, ma'am. Toastmaster Alaka Patra, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening, Captain.
Good evening, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes. You have mentioned that mandatory you have mentioned that the cybersecurity should not be mandatory. You have gone to the detail that it should be mandatory or not. You have gone, it should be a subject or not. But the question of a resolution was, it should be taught or not. So my question is.
No, I think you have not read the resolution properly, ma'am. The resolution says teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory at school. I think the main focus point here is whether it should be made mandatory, whether it should be made a must by law.
Or not. Our subject is whether it should be taught or not.
Oh, sorry. I think you have the resolution wrong, ma'am. Please go through the resolution one more time.
Because the mandatory, you have stress on it should be a subject or not. But our resolution was it should be taught or not. Okay, my question number 2 is.
Can I clarify this? Our focus of my speech is whether it should be mandatory or not, whether it is a must by law or not. That's it. What comes before, after, it doesn't, yeah.
My question number 2 is, from last 1.5 years, our children are staying online. So don't you think this children's safety is a must? Then the cybersecurity should be made mandatory to help them aware of the cybersecurity threats?
No, awareness is different from teaching a subject. We are aware, we are in the COVID times, we are aware of vaccines. It doesn't mean that we make teaching how to make vaccines in schools. There's a big difference between those two, no?
Okay. Thank you, Toastmasters. I have no further question. I thought this life, our children's life is more important than anything else. So that should be made mandatory at school.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karthikeyan and Toastmaster Alaka. 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballots, please. Timer to indicate the time. Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Alakapatra, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible.
Yes.
You are audible and visible, ma'am. Toastmaster Alakapatra, you may begin your constructive.
Yes, I'll be sharing a screen. Please make my time on after I share my screen.
Timer to note this, please.
How do I share? What is this? Share? Yes. Yeah, is it visible? Yes. Okay. I am a mother of 2 youngsters. Every morning when I get up, I pray my children are safe in the cyberspace. Good evening, debate moderator, my dear Toastmasters friend. I am Alka Patra, second speaker in the motion for the topic teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory at school. And today, as plead, I'll be covering the L and E portion of our speech. We teach children not to accept rights from stranger. But have you ever tried to imagine that our children are in the most crowded place when they use internet? Of course, it's a virtual world, but the risk can be serious. It can be cyberbullying, cyber predator, phishing, accidentally downloading malwares. These are some facts of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a form of harassment that employs electronic form of contact. The victims are 1.9 times more likely to commit suicide. It's a silent demon affecting mental health of our youngsters. According to a research published by PEW Center, majority of teens have been the target. Another concern is cyber predators. So these predators often stalk children on the internet, taking advantage of their innocence. These predators lurk on social media and gaming platforms that appeal to children. These cyber predators are a major concern. Statistics say of all victims under 18, 2 out of 3 are aged 12 to 17. Another threats are phishing, falling to scam. How do we keep our children safe in the cyberspace? The solution is they should be taught, expect the unexpected. 10% of life is made up of what happened to you, and 90% of life is decided by how you react. Preparedness is half the victory. So cybersecurity should be taught in school? Of course. Schools are the place they can prepare our children. They can put up posters all around the school, can have awareness activities, can have skit to create awareness. Schools can put up various campaigning activity. Some of the schools have already started doing it. Cybersecurity education at school is a must. A mistake made in solving a mathematical equation will not cost them a lot, but a mistake on online platform can cost a child a lifetime. Think about it. Making it mandatory at school, we can definitely help educate individuals on what they can do to stop and prevent potential cybersecurity threat. I strongly support teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory at school.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alakapatra. Toastmaster Alakapatra, you may please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
Okay, I now invite the second speaker of the negative team, Toastmaster Prashant Trikannad. Toastmaster Prashant Trikannad, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You're audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Prashant Trikannad, you may now begin your cross-examination, please.
Good evening, respected jury and members in the House. Toastmaster Alaka Patra, you have been very strongly propagating to teach cybersecurity at school. I have a very basic question, couple of them to ask you. Based on your study and research, How many hours does a student spend in school on an average, by your knowledge?
They spend hour for 8 hours.
8 hours. Okay. Can you tell me which subjects are compulsory in schools?
The subjects are compulsory. The subject what need for to enhance a child to teach the child the life skills, essential life skill, and ask the concern. As today the world children are staying in digital world, they should be knowing how to face digital world and how to save on online platform. Because from last 1.5 years, our children are online, studying online.
Thank you. How much time per day would you need to take for the cybersecurity class? Just, a guess.
They should be taught. They should be taught in some of the way by awareness, because the teachers are the best one to teach the cybersecurity education, because the children, they learn in a classroom environment. And sometimes if the child, this subject should be taught in school, if the child cannot share with her parents, that they can share with the peers and with the teachers, that she is not the one who is the victims. So this subject should be taught in school.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mercy. I'm done. And can I start my constructive speech, moderator?
Thank you, Toastmaster Alaka, and thank you, Toastmaster Prashant. Now 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballots, please. Timer to indicate the time.
ನಾನು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ 23 ಆಗ್ತದೆ 24 ಆಗ್ತದೆ.
Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Prashant, please unmute yourself and repeat the words. Synergize Conference rocks.
Synergize Conference rocks.
You're audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Prashant Pekanad, you may now begin your constructive speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, while my opposition team has talked a lot about the importance of cybersecurity, they have not considered the impact that an introduction of an additional subject would have on the students. Let me provide you some relevant statistics. The US National Center for Education and Economy has been researching the world's best performing education systems. Study done across the world indicated that the school hours per day varied from 5 hours in Finland to 8.5 hours in Taiwan. Any addition to the school subjects will increase the time spent in school and the resultant stress and anxiety. As per UNESCO, students in schools face a wide range of ongoing normative stressors, which can be defined as normal day-to-day hassles, such as pressure to achieve high marks and concerns about receiving poor grades. To cite an example, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development recently conducted a survey involving 72 countries and consisting of 540,000 students, respondents age 15 to 16 years. On an average, across OECD countries, 66% of students reported feeling stressed about poor grades, and 59% reported that they often worry that taking a test will be difficult. The OECD further found that 55% of students feel very anxious about school testing, even when they are well prepared. As many as 37% of students reported feeling very tense when studying. This data demonstrates that education and academic performance are a significant source of stress to students. Children should eventually be given a choice to make their own decision to participate. Unfortunately, cybersecurity is not as simple as administering an annual flu shot. It's not feasible for the government to issue cybersecurity software to schools, and security patches are likely to be out of date before the next attack. The current school curriculum is already overcrowded with important subjects that we cannot do without, and there is no guarantee that the cybersecurity program will become part of mainstream curriculum. Teachers are not cybersecurity experts because this subject is usually not taught in education courses, so we cannot expect them to be cyber experts. Unfortunately, this is a recurrent scenario for teachers these days. A common strategy for solving new social issues is to offload it to schools for teachers to deal with and unnecessarily burden them and make their life miserable, leading to a brain drain. On the downside, cybersecurity curriculum is rigorous. It can be intimidating for educators who have no formal background in the field, thus creating a fear factor in the minds of the educators and students alike. If we cannot remove the stress from school children and teachers, we at least have the mandate to reduce its occurrence. In light of the fact just shared, and with an emphasis on reducing stress for children and teachers, we firmly stand against today's motion. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prashant. Toastmaster Prashant, please repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks again.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible. I now invite the third speaker of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Melvin Buthello. Please unmute yourself, sir, and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks. Unmute yourself. You're not being allowed to unmute. Zoom Master? Zoom Master? Yes. You are unmuted now.
Now I'm now unmuted.
Now I can hear you. Can you please repeat these words? Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Melvin Buthello, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Thank you, debate moderator, and my worthy opponent, Mr. Prashant. Mr. Prashant, if not school, which is the alternative platform to teach children? What is your suggestion?
Yeah, you know, when we used to appear for our exams for our school, high school or colleges, we used to have these external institutes which used to, teach us. So I
that
presume
means you are recommending private tuitions. I got your point. Thank you.
Yes.
Now you are saying that this additional subject increased the stress, and you have given the OECD report saying that 66% feel stressed, and they should be given the option to choose. Have you asked your child while putting in the school whether he or she wants to go to school?
No, it is they go for the school,
Have you given the option to them?
No, we haven't given the option.
Thank you. Now, you are talking about the administration and the school getting the overloaded and the children getting overloaded. This is not the topic of the subject today. The topic is whether we should make cybersecurity mandatory. That is the subject. Now I will come to the point of your speaker number one, which has raised about the UAE making Arabic language mandatory. My question is, I believe you are from UAE, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you use Arabic language in your day-to-day use?
Yes, I do sometimes.
Sometimes, but it
Yes.
is not mandatory for you to use Arabic language.
In my case, I have a lot of customers who speak Arabic, and fortunately for me, I was in Kuwait.
So it is optional.
I was in Kuwait, so I know Arabic, so I like to speak languages.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prashant and Toastmaster Melvin. 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballots. Timer to indicate the time, please. Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Melvin Buthello, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are
please allow me to share my screen and then.
Oh, no worries. So I will tell the timer. You are audible and visible. Toastmaster Buthello, you may begin your constructive speech, and timer to note the time, please.
Okay, going for the motion. We know that today's children are definitely having the convenience, access, and freedom that connected world can bring. At the same time, this is giving the lot of exposure to the risk. As per CMIT solutions, 6 reasons they have given, but I'm going to speak about only 2. Selfies, over 93 million selfies are taken every day and downloaded. And worst thing is that even children below 6 years age are joining the bandwagon. Selfies impact adolescents' well-being and body confidence. This is affecting their personal growth. Even the location sharing, broadcasting your location can sometimes expose you and your family to risk of theft or physical harm. And many of you may not be knowing, even when your data connection is not there, your mobile can be tracked. Even when your mobile is switched off, your connected device can be tracked. Now, some small mistakes today can lead to serious problems now or in future. We have the case of SV Shekhar, who has just forwarded a derogatory post on the Facebook, and Madras High Court has penalized him, saying forwarding a message is equal to accepting the message and endorsing the message. I believe the children are not aware about this type of risk. Recently, 6 June, Ollie Robinson was suspended from all international cricket for a Twitter message he has posted when he was a teenager 10 years back. And this is haunting him and costing him his career. Educate and empower the children. That is what we are saying. National Response Center for Cybercrime. In Pakistan, they are creating Cyber Scout in the school. These are small children from the school. They are trained to play the role and create cyber awareness among fellow students, teachers, and parents. Information security is often seen as merely a cost rather than an investment that helps in avoiding cyber attacks and their impact. So I recommend to the House, make cyber security, teaching cyber security should be made mandatory at school. Thank you.
Rajiv, you are on mute.
Thank you, Toastmaster Melvin. Can you please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks?
Synergize Conference Rock.
You are audible and visible. I now invite the third speaker of the negative team, Toastmaster Sandeep Vengsarkar. Toastmaster Sandeep Vengsarkar, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Sandeep Vengsarkar, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Toastmaster Melvin, do you agree that we should use our available resources where they will give the maximum returns?
Definitely.
Thank you. Do you agree that making cybersecurity as a mandatory subject would consume resources, monetary as well as non-monetary?
I have clearly made my point.
One second. It is a very simple question, sir. Will it consume resources, monetary and non-monetary?
It will consume resources.
Thank you. You and your team mentioned the importance of teaching cybersecurity in schools. Can you tell me what has been the financial loss due to the non-teaching of this in schools? You have done a lot of research. Can you tell me what has been the financial loss
we are
to
not
date
talking about the
because
statistics here,
cybersecurity has not been taught in schools?
Can you tell me if you have worked upon the statistics of?
No, I don't think you have an answer. I don't think you have an answer for that. Let me move ahead. Let me move ahead. No. Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my next question to you, sir, is my next question to you, sir, is are you aware of how many deaths have happened because of the non-teaching of cybersecurity in schools?
Do you think only death is the?
I'm asking you. I'm asking you a question, sir. It's
we
a
have
simple
clearly mentioned about cyberbullying and the risk of the cyber, the digital world that is causing, and how we should educate our children to protect themselves. And we have given the example what are the harms has happened.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you agree? Okay. Fair enough.
Thank you, Toastmaster Melvin. Thank you, Toastmaster Sandeep. 30 seconds of silence for the judges to mark the ballots, please. Thank you, timer. Toastmaster Sandeep, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You're audible and visible, sir. Toastmaster Sandeep Venksatkar, you may begin your constructive speech now.
Thank you, debate moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, my opponent speaker agreed that we should consume our resources to where they give us the maximum impact. His earlier speaker also in her speech mentioned that we should teach our children essential life skills. Let me point out to you some of the facts regarding suicide deaths. Every hour, one student commits suicide in India, with about 20 such suicides reported every day, according to the data compiled by the National Crime Records Bureau. In the UK itself, the suicide rates in England has gone up significantly over the last few years. Even in the US, more and more children are now committing suicide. At no point of time have we even considered making tackling stress and combating student suicide as a mandatory subject in schools. Not only this, there are other subjects which are like physical and sexual abuse, other topics which are physical and sexual abuse, which are still not mandatory in schools at all. Now, are these, I would like to ask my opposition this one question. Is stress by suicide due to suicide due to stress, is physical and sexual abuse less important than the risk due to cybersecurity? And if that is the case, and if you agree to my proposition, which said we should use our resources effectively, then shouldn't it be the case that we make these subjects mandatory before we even considering cybersecurity to be made mandatory in school? My earlier speakers have already told you the impact that the added stress of adding another subject, adding another teaching material in school as a part of the curriculum is going to increase the stress on the children. This in itself will increase the impact of additional deaths due to suicide on stress. Now, I hence ask this House to reject this motion that teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory in schools. Over to you, debate moderator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sandeep Venksatkar. Can you please repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks?
Synergize Conference Rocks.
Okay. I now invite the captain of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Suryanarayan. Toastmaster Suryanarayan, please unmute yourself and repeat.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
Yeah, I heard that.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
Okay. You're audible and visible. Toastmaster Suryanarayan, you may begin your cross-examination now.
My dear worthy opponent Sandeep, I have a few questions for you. I would like you to answer them in yes or no. Simple answers. Number one question. Do you think it is possible for the school to educate the children without the cyberspace? Yes or no? Mr. Sandeep, can you hear me question? Mr. Sandeep?
I think Sandeep has lost his connectivity. Can somebody take over? Karthikeyan?
Karthikeyan, can you take over?
No,
Karthikeyan, can you unmute yourself?
Unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, please.
We will start the timer again. Okay. Start. No, Surya, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Mr. Sandeep is back.
Oh, Sandeep is back. Okay, fine.
Yeah, can you hear me now, sir?
Sandeep, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about.
You are unmuted. Unmute yourself. You're muted again. Surya, you are muted also.
No, I'm not. I'm in the other device. Can you hear me now? Can I go ahead?
Yes, Surya.
Can you respond, please?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Moderator, can you respond with a yes or no so that I can go ahead?
Yes, please. Start your
question. Thank you.
I don't think.
Thank you. The time. Okay. Mr. Sandeep, I have a very simple set of questions for you which I want yes or no answer. Do you think the schools can teach the children today without getting into the cyberspace? Yes or no?
Yes.
They can teach without going to cyberspace. That's what you're saying. Please understand the question.
Sorry. Yeah. No.
Okay. If the schools if the children have to use the cyberspace to receive school education, don't you think the school is compulsorily responsible to teach them how to be safe in the cyberspace?
Yes, at the same time, they should also be. One second. No, I need to clarify that answer. Right? I need to clarify that answer, and I have a right to. Yes, just as they are responsible for teaching students how to combat stress.
No. We're not talking about stress here. We're only talking about cyber security. Let's stick to that.
Yeah,
okay. Do you think death is the only problem? If the children live with psychological scars, emotionally distressed, they live in insecurity because they were victimized and they were stalked and they had.
What is a bigger problem?
What is a bigger problem? No. We're not asked to choose between this or that. We are only talking about this subject, whether it should be mandatory or not. You can take another debate to discuss whether stress should be taught or not. Something else should be taught, and that's a different subject.
I think you got our point wrong. I think you got our point wrong. We were saying there are bigger subjects to make mandatory
that's a different
before
cyber
security.
Altogether. No,
and that is not. It is not.
No.
It is not. I think you. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
No. Now the question is very clear that the students will have to use the cyberspace for education and time up.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sandeep and Toastmaster Suryanarayan. 30 seconds silence for the judges to mark the ballot. Thank you, timer. Tech team, please prepare breakout rooms for our affirmative and negative teams. Sergeant at Arms, please ensure that all the debaters are in their respective breakout rooms. Zoom master, please confirm that all debaters have reached their respective breakout rooms, please.
Debaters, you will now be moved in 3, 2, 1. Debate moderator, all the speakers and their respective sergeant at arms are now in the breakout room.
Okay. Timer 1, please begin the 5 minutes countdown and let us know when the 5 minutes are over.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio
5 minutes are over. Let us bring back our debaters into the room, please. Zoom Master, can you please confirm all debaters are in the room?
They'll be here in 10 seconds.
Thank you. Okay, I can see both the captains here. Chief Judge, may we proceed with the summary?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. I now invite the captain of the affirmative team, Toastmaster Suryanarayan. Toastmaster Suryanarayan, please unmute yourself and repeat the words Synergize Conference Rocks. Can't hear you. Zoom Master, can you unmute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Synergize debate rocks.
Yes, you are audible and visible. You can start your summary speech now.
My dear moderator, worthy opponents, audience, freedom and choice are the most overused and abused words in today's society. We were not born into this world by choice. My mom did not give me a choice when she gave me healthy food. I couldn't say no. My dad did not give me a choice whether I should go to school and get educated or not. But I'm glad my mom gave me healthy food and my dad gave me good education, because that's why I'm here today for speaking in front of you. If I have spoiled my health, it is because of the choices I made later on in my life in terms of food. So my friends, everything in life, we cannot have choice. Certain things have to come by compulsion, and education like this, security education, being safe and being taught in school is one such area. Our worthy opponents, okay, now I would ask a question. If the government were to give option to people to wear masks during this COVID time, can you imagine what would have happened? Certain areas, you don't have any choice. Now, our opponents understood teaching cybersecurity means making it into a subject, teaching them about security patch, firewall, cryptography, steganography. No, we did not use any of those jargons. We talked about exposing the children to the kind of dangers they may be facing, what kind of privileges and penalties they have, and how they can prepare themselves. These are the things that we are talking about. This is the cyber education we are talking about, and these things do not need an expert. And even if needed, the schools can always bring in experts to teach them. Our worthy opponent showed several statistics about stress and death and all that stuff. But imagine the stress with which children will live, with the psychological scars in depression and insecurity when they are victims of cyberbullying, of phishing, or their photos being morphed and put into the world and so on. These are severe dangers. Living in insecurity and living in depression is much worse than death. My dear opponents, my dear floor of audience, please understand the risk, the seriousness of this issue. If the school says the education can be delivered only through cyberspace, then they are responsible, and it is mandatory that they teach the children cybersecurity for the children to be safe. There is no other option. Our opponents already agreed that cybersecurity should be taught. The only question was mandatory in school. We have clearly proved that there is no other choice for the students or the teachers. It has to be mandatory in school. It has to be mandatory in school. It has to be mandatory in school. It's absolutely clear.
Thank you, Toastmaster Suryanarayan. Now it's 30 seconds for the judges to mark the ballots, please. Thank you, timer. I now invite the captain of the negative team, Toastmaster Karthikeyan. Toastmaster Karthikeyan, please unmute yourself and repeat the word Synergize Conference Rocks.
Synergize Conference Rocks.
You are audible and visible, sir. You can start your summary speech now.
Good evening once again. As expected and as warned by us, the members of the House just heard from our opposition team how they were attempting to derail the focus on the resolution, which was mandatory, by presenting to you just perils that exist in the digital world and how cybersecurity is important and how we have to protect our children. And in fact, they went to, as a last straw, went to even changing their definition, which they themselves gave in the first slide of cybersecurity and what is teaching of cybersecurity. That shows that their stand has already fallen flat. On the other hand, we, right from the outset, clearly defined the framework, pointed to the essential, the key factor in the resolution, which is the word mandatory, and which means that you have to do it by law. And that is what we oppose. The matter of compulsion versus choice is a fundamental issue. We have pointed out this through research data which we have presented to you from the New Zealand Education and Youth Development Ministries and also from the Journal of Neuro-Linguistics. We also presented to you case studies, live case studies, real life examples, 2 case studies where it is clearly proven that if you make a subject mandatory, it has negative effects. We have, our speakers have presented to you also data and information about the stress and the overload that puts on the already creaking education system if you add another subject to it. We have clearly defined awareness and shown the difference between what is awareness and what is teaching. We are not against awareness, but we are definitely against teaching anything as a mandatory thing at school. We have also pointed to you the optimal use of resources. As agreed by our opposition, the resources are limited and optimal use of those resources can be done by diverting them or putting them to use in developing, as our opposition said, essential life skills, which are far more prioritized than what we are discussing now. On the whole, we have proved beyond doubt that whenever a word mandatory appears anywhere in life, it has negative impact. And in this case, it negatively impacts not just the learning process, the teaching process also. And this was shown to us by the report from Advocate. In conclusion, I would like to request the members of the House to take all this into point and the weaknesses of the arguments presented by the opposition and oppose the motion that is on the floor, which is teaching cybersecurity should be made mandatory, and declare that it should not be made mandatory. Nobody can force us by law to read something at school. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karthikeyan. 30 seconds silence for the judges to make the ballots, please. Thank you, Timer. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the debate. May I request our Chief Judge and Ballot Counter to proceed to their breakout room to compile the results. Zoom Master, please confirm they are proceeded.
You will now be moved, Chief Judge and Tally Counters.
Thank you.
All of them are now in the breakout room.
Thank you, Zoom Master. It's my pleasure now to present the certificate of participation to all the debaters. So here are the certificates of participation for debate 2. For the affirmative team, the captain Suryanarayan K. Second speaker Alaka Patra. And third speaker Melvin Bothello. The backup speaker, MT Hamid. For the negative team, Toastmaster Karthikeyan Murugesan. The second speaker, Toastmaster Prashant Trikanna. And the third speaker is Toastmaster Sandeep Vengsarkar. Give them a big round of applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. This was quite a heated debate, but I think it was done in a very, how do you call it, democratic way. Things were very, very well done. Congratulations to both the teams. Very well done. And a big round of applause to all of you. Now I hand over the proceedings back to our beautiful MC, Toastmaster Elena of the day. Over to you, Elena.
Thank you. Thank you, debate moderator. Whew. Just when I thought things couldn't get hotter than Kuwait summer this year. Audience, how did you enjoy the second round of debate? Let's give a quick round of applause to our debaters today. Put in your reactions, everyone. Heart, claps. Put it all out there. And you can now turn on your cameras, for we are about to take a wild group photo. Turn on the heat, everyone. Give me your best poses. In 5, 4, turn on your cameras. 3, 2, and 1. You can say, Synergize rocks.
Synergize rocks.
Okay. I hope our tech moderator has gotten that picture. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Hold on for some time. There are multiple screens. Bindu.
Synergize.
I'm taking, yeah.
Yeah, just hold on. Yeah, keep your smiles up and your victory thumbs up, whatever it is, because there are multiple screens.
Yeah.
You have some more people, Maubera.
I can see someone's walking in the streets. Nice.
All can turn on their cameras. There are a lot of people who can turn on. Yes.
Who are there.
All contestants. Guests. So can we start from first? Yes. Yeah. Now there are more cameras. Okay. Count of 3, 2, 1. All thumbs up. Good. Moving on to the second screen.
Keep smiling. You
Keep
never
smiling.
know. You first
Again.
second.
Yeah.
Keep
3,
smiling.
2, 1. Turn. One more to go. Again. 3, 2, 1. All done. Yes. Good.
Great job, everyone. Thank you. And now let's hear from the president of the hosting club, who is a logistics and supply chain professional managing the freight commercials desk with Agility Logistics Kuwait. He has been a Toastmaster since 2011 and presently also the area director of Area 17 in District 20. He is the evaluation champion of District 20 in the year 2018 and the captain of the winning team of the debaters conference that was held last year. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your claps together to welcome Toastmaster Prince George. I believe he is not here.
He is not here.
All right, so let me hand over to our event chair. Madam Event Chair, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. And it is time to recognize our critical role players, Master of Ceremonies and the debate moderator. Can we have the certificates on, please? Site Master. A big thank you and a certificate of appreciation for Alina Paul from Desert Pioneers as Master of Ceremonies. Next, we move on to our energetic debate moderator, Rajiv Naik, distinguished Toastmaster Rajiv Naik from Take the Bet Toastmaster. from me. Back to you, Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you very much, Madam Even Chair. A very big thank you to all the role players who took part today, all the hardworking Toastmasters behind the screen and on the screen. A very big round of applause to all of you all. This was indeed a quality event that would not have been possible without each individual who contributed to helping out today. Now, I can see that we have with us in the audience some officials from the district. So let's hear some beautiful words from our district officials. Let me start with the District 20 Program Quality Director, who is the upcoming District 20 Director. Ladies and gentlemen, put your claps together for DTM Alifia Lakdawala. DTM Alifia, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, the energetic Toastmaster Lena Paul. Thank you. Good evening, Toastmasters across District 20, dignitaries, members. It's definitely an honor for me to speak tonight at your event. And I thank TTM Gayatri Ravindran to constantly follow up with me and give us this opportunity to be amongst you all talented members tonight. So, well, this concept of debate started last year where we went across Region 11 with different districts. And this year we have a larger audience, many more clubs participating. So keep it up. It just goes to show, that we Toastmasters can be creative. We Toastmasters can do anything. Our passion, our enthusiasm can really make things happen. And what I just witnessed in the last 5-10 minutes, what I have logged in, is that perfection, is that members are all executing with the same passion, despite which club, which area, which division, or rather which district they belong to. So thank you, critical thinkers, for taking this step. And thank you, District 105, District 116, to participate wholeheartedly. It is an honor for me today that you all have invited me and given me a chance to speak at the event. Thank you, and back to you, Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you, PQD. Next, we have with us the District 20 Club Growth Director, who is the incoming District 20 Program Quality Director. Ladies and gentlemen, put your claps together for DTM Khalid Abdullah. DTM Khalid Abdullah, screen is all yours.
Thank you so much, Master of Ceremonies, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guest, and I just seen PQD, Alifia Lakdawala, and all of the dignitaries in the house, which I can't see because I'm getting access from my phone. The chairperson, DTM Gayatri, who has been really instrumental in chasing me and giving me updates each minute. Good evening to all of you. Last year, same time, I was the Chief Sergeant-at-Arms for this beautiful contest. And I was just wondering, would this happen again? It was just like a fairy tale last year. And we were all not sure, how are we going to mute, unmute, who would speak first? And all of the confusion was there. But I'm sure this time it was totally different under the leadership of DTM Gayatri and all of the leaders across the 3 districts. This is exactly what we want to have at this specific time of our district term. A few days ago, just to have very quick incident, a few days ago, I was connecting through 2 meetings. I'm just practicing my usual routine on a daily basis. I had one meeting on this ear, another meeting on the other ear. And my son came in. He spoke something, I still don't know what he said. And I said, Abdullah, please, not now. I need to focus, I have 2 meetings. And then he said, what are you doing to yourself? Why all of this? What are you getting out of this? And he left. And that same feeling came to me, and I'm sure all of us had that same feeling, the urge to quit. I started to question myself. And instead of looking at paths, I was looking at obstacles. Today, what I see in front of me are the leaders of the hours. This is what we really need to have. We need to have leaders to look at the path and not the obstacles, to make things happen, to send positivity all around. The urge to quit comes for all of us. And I'm sure before this happens, there would be some doubt, especially during such difficult time. But look at you, raising the flag of Toastmasters very high across districts, across the walls, sending a strong signal saying that we are Toastmasters and we are practicing what we learn from leadership. Kudos to the organizing committee, kudos to all of the 3 district leaders. Keep it up, keep spreading your inspiration, and let's enjoy our Toastmasters journey. Over to you, Master of Ceremony.
Thank you, CGT. Beautiful words. And next we have with us the District 116's Program Quality Director and the incoming District 116 Director. Ladies and gentlemen, put your claps together for DTM Manzoor Moideen. DTM Manzoor, screen is all yours.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Alina Paul, and all the debaters, attendees of the Synergy 2021. There's an advertisement commercial in one of the Indian languages for I think it is for dishwashing soap or something. It says, Daag achhe hai, which means stain is good. Similarly, I feel that though many people fear these debates, I always say that debates are actually good because we get to know both the sides. Now, we all of us, or probably most of us, engage in debates every day. Personally, I get in many debates, right from 5 o'clock in the morning when I wake up, debating with myself, what to do, what not to do, what to wear and what not to wear. Even today, after receiving this virtual background from Bindu Pillai, I saw that the virtual background and my suit color is both same. I debated to myself, should I go and change my suit or should I change the virtual background? I said, it's fine. But then let me tell you this, jokes apart. It was like watching a tennis match or a badminton match. Like, when you are watching a tennis match, you all know that you look like this throughout. And during the debate, I was like that. When the affirmative person, spokesman spoke, I was with them. I said, yes, you're right. And when the negative person spoke, I said, yes, I'm with you. That was the class of debate that happened today. Kudos to all the debaters, speakers, and the organizers. Congratulations to everyone involved and wish all the very best to the winners to be. Now, whichever team, whoever wins, being the program quality director of District 116, I'll be still happy because I will have at least 1 or 2 members from our district to be in the finals and probably in the winning team as well. Once again, congratulations. Thank you for having me here. Over to you, Alina Paul.
Thank you, PQD. Wise words were spoken. And ladies and gentlemen, decisions have been made, and it has been quite a challenging time for our chief to take a call. But we are ready with the results. Chief Judge, we are ready, correct?
Yes.
Can I hear a yes from you?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so get ready with your drum rolls, for it is time for the announcement of the results. 2 teams are going to use their magic and battle it out at the finals for tomorrow. Without further ado, let me call in our Chief Judge, DTM Safir Aziz. DTM Safir, the screen is all yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alina. May I request the help of Bindu and the organizing team to share the results, please? And I'll announce.
1 second, Sabir. Yeah.
No problem. Bindu, you don't have rights to share the screen.
I have. Here you go. Yeah.
Okay, debate one. The debate on whether UN should be reformed. The winning team is Critical Thinkers, the affirmative team.
Why not? Yeah.
Please share the sound.
Bindu, there is no music.
Share the sound.
Okay.
Share the sound.
We won the debate.
Congratulations, Critical Thinkers.
I'll do it 1 second, please. Yeah.
No problem.
Sabir?
Yeah, you're not sharing the certificates of the team
Yeah,
members?
I'm sharing.
Mobera, Nilofer Samal, and Remy Raji. Okay, and the best debater. Master Mobera. Congratulations, congratulations. Now to the results of the second debate of the semi-final round, the debate on whether cybersecurity should be made mandatory, teaching of cybersecurity made mandatory in schools. The winning team is Take Debate, the negative team. And the team members, Karthikeyan, Prashant, and Sandeep Bensaka. And the best debater of the second debate is Karthikeyan M. Thank you, Bindu. I congratulate all the 4 teams for having reached this far. And I'm wishing all the very best to the 2 teams in the final. One thing we can be sure of is that we are going to have an exciting debate tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m. I look forward to seeing all of you in the final round, final debate tomorrow. Wish you all the best, and back to the MC, Alina.
Thank you, Chief Judge. Congratulations, debaters. I hope you're all proud of yourself, giving yourself a pat on the back. So can we have a group photo of the winning team? The first team, can the Zoom master please spotlight our first
Debate 1, affirmative team, critical thinkers, please switch on your camera.
Great, we've got
Remy Raji,
two
you
of the
there?
members.
Safir, can you please
Ladies and gentlemen, keep your claps going. For critical thinkers,
Remy Raji, are you there? He doesn't look like he's available. No, he's not. Rajiv Naik, are you there? No, he's also not there. No, it's only them. We can proceed with the Q&A.
Zoom Master, just let me know once you've taken the shot.
Yeah.
All
Is our
right.
debate moderator around?
Debate moderator is also not there.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so we'll proceed with this.
You can have the event chair spotlighted.
Event chair or at least the MC?
Yes, MC, yes.
I think, yeah, okay. But also the event chair, if you can have her.
Gayatri, you there?
Give your power pose. What's your
Smile,
power
everyone. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Okay. Congratulations, critical thinkers. And let's move on to the second winning team. Moderator, can you please spotlight team number 2? Take the bait.
Yep.
We have all 3 participants. Great.
All right. Smile, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Great.
Done. Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone. All right. So this was truly a wonderful experience. We have all been inspired by the warriors we saw today. So let's all get ourselves ready to attend the mighty finale that's happening tomorrow, where our debaters are going to unleash their inner superpowers. So thank you, everyone, and let's look forward to tomorrow. With that, hoping you all have a good night. And closing the event. Event chair, let me hand it over back to you.
Thank you. I'll take this up a little, Bindu. Before I hand it over to you to thank everybody, I would like District 20 PQD, DTM Alifia Lakadawala, who is still here, to share her thoughts about what she felt about this debate and generally because she is also a debater. So would you like to share your views from that side?
Thank you, DTM Gayatri. I think debate itself, it's an art. And when we started the debate club in Kuwait, I remember the initial days, like I was a charter member and we used to debate. Lot of planning, lot of thinking goes in what is going to be your content, what your rebuttal is going to be, and what you will expect the other or the affirmative or the negative team to tell you. So it just keeps you thinking. These attributes of thinking, listening, it comes so subtle in your life that in your everyday life also, when you are debating or rather doing debates on a regular basis, you tend to become like that. And I had seen that phase in me that, everything was like, if this, if not this. So the reasoning power of us as human really increases. So thank you. I think a lot of effort goes, because getting to the content, that 3-minute speech by the captain requires a lot of content. And I'm surprised and I'm hats off to all the debaters here. Tomorrow they have the finals, so they're really 20 and debate District 10 tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, Bindu, the floor is yours.
Just one last thing, I just want to mention that we are really missing that. I wanted to mention about this one, our Rajiv Saab, our moderator, who was not only Nayak, he was also Kalnayak today at times. He was superb. He was superb. The way he moderated, I was like, oh, wow. You can do it like this also. So Nayak and Kalnayak, we are missing Rajiv Nayak. Please convey my regards to him.
Sure, Manzoor.
Sure.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Right, thank you so much. Well, as expected, the grey hairs have taken over the final.